Big Boy's Neighborhood. I gotta say, man, it is a pleasure to have this man back in the neighborhood, and that is Logic. Logic, welcome back to the neighborhood, brother. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Man, I can't complain, bro. I can't complain. I see that you're smiling, man. Is the smile authentic?
No, I'm just kidding.
Right?
Yeah,
I wouldn't ask.
no, for
You
sure.
know?
Yeah. For me, the reason I think I smiled is because it took everything not to say big boy right after you said big boy. And then
Yes,
number
sir.
two, I'm happy that we're able to do this again. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, man, and it means a lot to me as well, man. And of course, you know, we've had great conversations. That's not for air conversations, man.
Yeah.
Just people conversations. So it feels good to also have you back in the neighborhood, man, and congratulate you once again on giving birth, not to the little one, but to another project. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
And it's
Thanks.
crazy, man, because sometimes we don't get one. You know, you get that one, and then you get a great fan base. Logic, that I always felt like you treated your fan base extremely well, and now you come with No Pressure. All righty, why that title? When you would think with albums and freestyles and social media, you would think that there is a pressure. Why No Pressure?
That's a great question. I think for me, and I also talked about this off air. I haven't been on social media, so I also haven't
Right.
had the pressure of that, for one. And then even the raps, like there's a song called Dark Place on this album, which is
Mm-hmm.
a pretty dark song. And I go into essentially like, there was a time when I was in the studio and I was like, yo, millions of people are going to hear this. Or this line that I just want to have fun with. Oh, millions of people might not see it as fun. They might critique it. And I just threw all that out of the window. And then halfway through making this album, I realized that I was like, okay, this is it. Like, I really just want to go be a dad. And it doesn't mean I won't make music for myself. It doesn't mean that I might not go score a film or do something, but I'm writing raps. I was writing raps yesterday. Like, it's,
Yes,
for
sir.
me, it's therapeutic, but I think that name goes even further when it's like the no pressure of the industry and kind of like leaving all that behind and realizing
Mm.
the same reason why I just moved to Montana, that I don't have to be in LA to do this. I don't have to be in hip hop to be happy. So that's kind
Right.
of where the no pressure title
Hey,
came from.
man. And speaking of Dark Place, when you go into that, for one, I thought that it felt like writing that was therapeutic. And I say this all the time, Logic. I say, man, there are these enoughs that I got to do. And it was so crazy to hear you say the same thing, because anyone that knows me know I gotta be hip hop enough. I gotta be old school enough. I gotta be new school enough. I gotta be black enough. I gotta be brown enough. I gotta be hood enough. I gotta be corporate enough. Like, there's all these enoughs. And when I heard you say that too, I was like, man, like he got it. And there's a lot of enoughs that I feel like you would have to deal with, but also I think that you're starting to subtract some of those enoughs.
Yeah, it's like, I want to be good enough for my family. You know what I mean? I
Right.
want to be good enough for my friends, my employees. Like, that's what matters to me. The funny thing about that song Dark Place, it wasn't supposed to be on the album. I wrote that. I'm making this like really fun mixtape that no one's ever gonna hear. I mean, I'll send it to you, but like, it's just like fun. It's me rapping on other people's beats on some Wayne 50 Cent shit, and it's super fun. And I wrote that song over another instrumental and recorded it, and nobody was supposed to hear it, because in my mind it's like, I kind of feel like I'm not complaining, but I'm venting, but I'm like, oh,
Right.
people would just be like, oh, the rich dude is complaining about his life and da da da. And I wrote it, and I never thought anybody was going to hear it. And then a homie of mine was like, his name's Schwai, he was like, dude, you gotta put that on your album. I was like, no, the album's done. And this was like, we're like a week out from the album, a week or two from the album being out. And then my engineer, because I had recorded it by myself at like 3 a.m. in the
Mm.
dark in the studio. And my engineer was like, you got to put this on the album. And I was like, no. And then the next person was like, and then I was just gave up. I was like, okay, fine. Like, I'll put it out there. And I'm glad I did,
Yeah.
because I think it needed it.
And I thought that that was a song where you've always kind of let us look in, but I felt that that was another song where I felt like you peeled another layer. You know what I'm saying? And there's
Yeah.
so much. And what I did enjoy about the album, man, is that there is enough of everything. You know what I'm saying? There's enough of the lyrical content. There's enough of you know, letting us in and looking inside. You know what I'm saying? And the vulnerabilities. There's enough braggadocio. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I thought that you put together what I would call a human album, because with us as humans, people say, oh, it's contradictory, but no, you go through this. You go through these moods of, you know, oh, I'm good right now, I'm a little down right now, oh, I'm a little here over here, you know, and people try to
Yeah.
sometimes, Logic, they try to hold you into this box because of who you are, and not just Logic, but not understanding that we're also the same people. We feel different vibes all the time throughout the day. You know what I'm saying? By the music we listen to, by the shows that we watch, by the conversations. At one point we hardcore on something, then somebody can kind of have a conversation with us. We'll say, oh yeah, you know, but we don't, the people get pinned to it. Did you ever feel like you were pinned, like, to something either that you said or to a style or expectation from the public or even your fan base?
That's a really great question. Yeah, I think early on though, I tried to sway from that because, you know, with my first two albums, they were very like super, you know, very hip hop, kind of like this album. But um, then I did like the whole Bobby Tarantino thing where I was rapping on trap music because I knew I was able to do that. I knew that I
Mm-hmm.
could rap on trap music and have fun and still kind of put a message in there, but you know, be on my ignorant, you know, have a good time, you know, just have
Yes,
fun.
sir.
So that allowed me to kind of break out of that box, which was still hard to do. I mean, even my last album before this one, everyone was like, oh, he's just bragging and he's just this. And I was like, yo, I was just having a good time, you know, for the first time in my career and kind of celebrating and having
Yeah,
fun.
man.
But they're like, no, you can't do that. You're the lyrical guy. And then I'm
Yeah,
looking in the
yeah.
mirror like, am I really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Like, let me
Um,
know now. You know what
yeah,
I'm
thank
saying?
you. Yeah. So that's why I kind of wanted to make this album. And I wanted, yeah, you're right. Like it is a very unapologetic rap hip hop album, but there are moments like with the song Perfect, for example, where it's
Mhm.
almost like this old school West Coast sounding, you know, Tom Perk, but then we got the modern 808. And it's the only song that has modern like hats and snares and things on it because that's what I wanted to do. And yeah, it's hard. I think sometimes being in a box, you know what I mean? Not being typecast, even going into film. Like I'm on this Joseph Gordon-Levitt show called Mr. Corman and he's one of my favorite actors. And I auditioned for the role and I got the
Oh,
gig and I'm like on set with my idol and breaking free of just being a rapper like which I love being a rapper, not just being, I love to rap, I love being a writer and a poet, but it's like that typecast of, oh well, let's get him to rap or this or that. And on this show it isn't like that. And it
right.
was an amazing feeling to like, because I had to scream at this dude and I had to like, I was almost pulled to tears and like this whole thing and da, da, da. And then when they yelled cut, everyone on the set like gave me like an
Yeah.
ovation. I
And
was
you
like,
didn't
yo.
and you didn't get it like we need a Logic type or we need Logic. Like you said, you had to audition for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy, man, when you step into someone else's so-called world. You know what I'm saying? And when you're locked and loaded, do you see yourself doing more acting?
Yeah, I'm in this video game called Last of Us 2, and I had to do the full suit and mocap. So I'm able to play somebody that doesn't look like me at all. Um, and but it's me, it's my voice, it's my actions. I did that. VO for cartoons, voiceovers, which is super fun. You know, working with
Yeah.
JJ Abrams on a film, different
See?
scripts and things like that. But here's the thing. I knew there needed to be a change when I sold out Madison Square Garden and I wasn't nervous and I wasn't filled with
Oh.
butterflies. Now that doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy it and that I didn't love my fans and all that, but I wasn't nervous anymore. That
Was
like
there an
giddy.
anxiety there still? Because I know at one point it was more of an anxiety as well. You know, but you just felt like,
It was more
did
of
it
an
feel
emptiness.
normal? Oh,
Yeah, it felt like, yeah, it was like an everyday like, all right, well, I'm clocked in again. That's why like when I do go on tour, because now I'm excited, like I'm still always gonna tour, and now I'm just gonna tour a catalog of music, you know what I mean? And when I do tour, especially when I come back, like I'm over arenas. Like I'll definitely do them here and there in the future or whatever the case. I want to get back to intimate, or at least what I consider intimate, 3,000 to 6,000 people, theaters, me, a microphone, and a DJ. This isn't going to be, oh, come to my show and pop a bunch of Molly with your girlfriend and look at all the lights. And no, it's going to be like, this is going to be real MC stuff. That's what gets me excited. This more raw, real, honest connection with true fans. But outside of that, like, yeah, definitely getting into film. I'm working on my next book, also fiction. I'm also doing my autobiography right now. I've been talking to studios about the movie on my life called 7 Mile. No, I'm just kidding. And I'm excited. I'm definitely excited to just do other things. But first and foremost, just be a good husband and father. That's like my number one thing. I'm excited.
Logic, there's so many things that we can say, oh my God, man, you've done this so well. You've accomplished this, you know, but I want to talk to you about fatherhood. You know what I'm saying? What does that mean to Logic?
Well, that's heavy without even really thinking about it. Like, it means a lot. It first and foremost, like when I look at my boy and I just want to be everything I wanted and I wish that I could have had from family. It makes me emotional talking about it, actually. I see this cute little thing with his big head and his mom's eyes. And I just want to keep him safe and love him and being, you know, fatherhood. It's just like, you realize that all this other stuff really isn't that important. That's another thing. It's like, I was recording this album while my wife was pregnant. Where there was a moment we thought we lost the baby. We were told by the doctor it was ectopic and she could bleed out. And it was like and then for that to not happen. And then we have this beautiful child. It's special. It makes you realize what is important. And a rap list and a review and how many likes on it's just so, that's all childish. It doesn't matter. Like, my son is breathing. I'm happy. I'm okay.
Yeah, man.
But you still do need personal time. Me and my wife, I talk about this all the time. I'm like, it's important that we have time together as a family, for sure. We have time together as husband and wife, and we have time apart separately so that I can go do whatever hobby or whatever I need to do personally as Bobby, and you as his mother need to also have that time. Balance is so important. If it's too much family time, we probably gonna be bickering and snapping at each other. If it's too much us time, that balance is extremely important, especially with a child in play.
What have you learned since being a father, Logic?
I mean, it's only been like almost 6 months, but
hey, bro, let me tell you, but it is immediate. And we had the conversation where I was like, man, watch when you hold your child. I told you, I said, man, you have never fallen in love with anything faster in your life. There's no car, no check, no this, no that. And then you'll look at this child and you'll say, I just met you and I would kill or be killed for you. You don't walk up to somebody and say, hey, what's up? How you doing, baby girl? Oh, I'll die for you. You know what I'm saying? So in 6 months is such a learning experience, bro. And I'm going to tell you, Logic, it never stops. You know what I'm saying?
I can feel it. It's like an evolution.
And when we were talking about what was, what's kind of important to you now, at one point it could have been when you cracked 1,000 people in the audience. You know what I'm saying? At one point, it could have been when somebody recognized you or when you heard a song on the radio, and all those things are important and all those things are milestones and they're beautiful. But as a father, when I said, what have you learned or what's important to you now, it's a whole, like, you moved to Montana. I don't know if Logic the rapper would have moved to Montana.
Solo, no, definitely
living by no queen, no kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Let me ask, so this is just for now, right? We can figure it out. This is pre-recorded, right? Because I have a lyric I want to spit at you. I want to know. Okay, cool. So y'all can blurb it out. So I have this thing that I wrote on that mixtape I was telling you about that no one's ever going to hear. And there's a line that says, I learned a lot from my dad, like all the shit you shouldn't do. And now that I got my son, it ain't a thing I wouldn't do, to be there for him, cheer for him. Day he was born, sold out shit on the day I sold out the forum. Like, it is that, like, having thousands and thousands of people in a crowd it just doesn't compare. Now, that doesn't take away from personal achievement or connection to those fans by any means. But it's like, brother, like, man, And I think it's something people who have children will understand. You know what I mean? This is like grown folk talk right now. This is just mature talk. And I
Yeah.
think that's another thing that I was scared. I was kind of not scared to do, but I had reservations about, but I threw those reservations out the window, especially on this album, because I mean, I've got lines where, I talk about, I remember window shopping. Now I'm shopping for windows for my baby new room, Bobby coming soon. And that's the type of line I would have second guessed putting on my shit before, out of fear that they would hate because they couldn't relate because it wasn't relevant. Give a fuck if it's evident. I'm like Leo and Revenant, bear with me. Like there was a moment when I was like, man, I'm about to talk about changing diapers and doing my best to be a good husband and all this. And it was a little scary, but at the same time, I was like, nah, I'm a man. I'm not a kid anymore. No
Yeah,
ID
man.
told me, he said the things we did as children, we should not necessarily be doing as men. And when he said that, it opened up the floodgates of like how I was going to pen this album.
Hey, man, and I know on Man I Is, you say, I feel like I'm 35 times my age.
For sure, dude.
You know what I'm saying? And I could really relate to that too, because even just knowing your story and the layers of the onions that you have peeled off, even in my life, there's somebody that thought we're not going to be here. And maybe it was even us at some point. You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure was, yeah.
So when you look up, man, and I say, you know what, continue to take people on that journey. Because if you're celebrating life and your child and your queen, and like I say, man, I think that the album has everything in it. You know what I'm saying? Because I always felt like we believed you. You know what I'm saying? So if I hear a No Pressure album and you like, oh, I'm in the club pouring such and such on asses and, money slow like my last, whatever the hell it is, I'll be like, okay, dude, he trying. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I know when we say no pressure, then when we go from under pressure to no pressure, how do you define where you are at with under pressure and where you are with no pressure?
Wow, great. You're the shit. You're the shit. You're the bomb. I love your questions and everything. It's the best. So I think with under pressure, I was this 24-year-old kid, and it was kind of like a story of, this is when I started rapping. Here's a story about my mixtapes and the first time I toured and all my dreams and ambitions and oh my God, and now I just dropped my first album. That's crazy. That's under pressure. To me, no pressure is a culmination of all the things since I've been in the game, what I've learned, the hard times, the good times, the this, the that, up into this point of my life. So I think I really, 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 really cared about wanting to be accepted and wanting to be loved by hip hop. But the thing is, I knew that I always was loved and accepted by hip hop. This like phony circle that's a loud minority on the internet who feels that they have the
Oh,
keys to the
Lord.
kingdom. Do you know what I mean? That's who I was actually trying to be accepted by. And it wasn't
Right.
until I found acceptance within myself that I realized I always belong, when I can have brothers like yourself or Erica or Black Thought or, all the Wu-Tang Clan, the legends showing me love. Well, I've been doing something right the whole time. It's not about trying to be accepted by the people who hate you or don't like you or talk trash about you, because you
Right.
want to, as an artist and a creative like yourself, I wanted to be loved and accepted by everybody. And I didn't get it. Why don't they like me? I'm nice.
Right.
I had a hard come up. I was surrounded by drugs and violence. I made it out. I am the underdog story. I don't get it. I try to rack my brain until I realized it doesn't matter, dude. Like,
Yeah,
love
man.
yourself, hug yourself. And that's a big thing I learned from Under Pressure to No
I
Pressure.
always say, man, I can only perform for my audience. You know what I'm saying? You can't do a show at the Staples Center and perform for people that sit inside the forum waiting on country. You know what I'm saying? All you
Yeah,
can do
100%.
is pay your attention to the people that not, oh, they just rock with me, but it's like we're always trying to bring in someone that don't want to be brought in. And then when we do bring them in, they're gonna disrespect exactly what we're doing anyway, man. So I've just learned that life, man. I always say that life is mathematics, and what I mean by that logic is, you know, if you say, okay, add the addition, I want to add, you know, years to my life, make sure that I add love to my relationships, whatever it is, that's the addition. Multiplication, I want to multiply either my income, my wisdom, whatever that multiplication is. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to division, I got to divide my time being Kurt Alexander. I got to divide being big boy. I got to divide being husband, divide being, you know, provider. So there's so many things that you got to do is division. And then when it comes to subtraction, the older I get, the more I subtract the bullshit out of my life. The people, the things that I knock out of my phone, the things that worry about me, your panic switch. You remember what your panic switch used to be when you were doing under pressure, and what your panic switch now is with no pressure?
Yes, I
You know
do.
what I'm saying? Yeah, like the things that you be like, oh no, that don't even phase you anymore. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And that comes with life and growth and paying attention, man, and really working on yourself. And when I look at no pressure from under pressure, could you have done under pressure without no ID?
First of all, I'm writing down that mathematics shit you just said in my phone. That's a rap. That is a
Oh
song
yeah,
right there, dog. Oh my God. What you just
yeah,
said,
bro.
that is, I have to write that down. I'm sorry. Could I have
And
made this album?
always end with subtraction. You know what I'm saying?
For
Always
sure.
end with subtraction, bro.
No, for sure. No, I couldn't have made it. Could I have made a really good album? Yeah, for sure.
Right.
But it's the conversations that me and this man had, man. Like, I said, you know, my boy Six, we produced the whole album together, me and Six. You know, I've got songs I produced on my own. I did Heard Him Say, I did Man I Is,
Mm-hmm.
Six did Hit My Line, Growing Pains 4, you know, I could go on and on with all the songs that he did. And No ID came in, and yeah, he produced a couple joints, but what he did was so much more deeper than just production. He was like the Quincy Jones of this, to be able to have conversations and
Right.
guide where production should go and the sound of it, but even more so what the subject matter was, you know what I mean? And the conversations we're having about life, children, ups and downs, like what really matters, what's important. There was times when I was like, yo, I don't know if I should say this on the album because I feel like people might. And he's like, man, he No ID's catchphrase, because he's Yoda to me, is just say the shit. That's what he always tells me when we're in the studio. I'm like, I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to. He goes, just say the shit, man. And so, yeah, this album wouldn't be what it is without that man. My career wouldn't be what it is. He signed me to Def Jam.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, he's a really great man. I love him. I cherish our relationship, and he's helped me so much, and I appreciate him.
Love it. Logic, where would, and I know this sounds like such a cliche question, but where would you like to be 5 years from now?
Ooh, damn, you snapped. I like that, because like oh snap. That's the first time anybody asked me that question with like this mental state, this mentality I'm in. Where would I like to be? I'd like to be at soccer games, watching my boy run around the field. I'd like to be on set for films. I'd like to be helping youth. I'd like to be producing for other artists. And I'd like to live a Clark Kent life where I can be Bobby and be a father and be, you know, be daddy and be a good husband. And then I can venture out into the world and be Logic or Bobby Hall, the actor, or whatever that is, to be able to separate that. Yeah, I'm excited for new things and new adventures.
All right, so we look through what I call the windshield. You know what I'm saying? Let's look through the rear view. Now,
Ooh.
when you look through the rear view mirror, 5 years ago, where did you think you would be? Did you think you'd be dad, husband, in Montana, no pressure? Like, where did you think you would be? Or where did you
Oh
want to be?
man, it's weird. I always wanted a family, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because it's something that I never had. So I always wanted that. I think, yeah, I could definitely have hoped, that I would be a family man and have children for sure. But I honestly back then, you know, I mean, I was 25. I was like, I want a Grammy, and
Yeah.
I want to go platinum, and you know, I want people to love me, and I want to be able to go on tour and do an arena, and I like everything that I was thinking about was just so. I was looking so far ahead that I was never in the present. You know what I mean? I was never like really enjoying my surroundings and like soaking things up. And I kind of regret that now. But I'm playing it differently now. Now when I'm with my child or when I'm on a set, I'm like, wow, you're here. It's not like I need an
Yeah.
Oscar. It's like, yo, you did it. Like this is crazy. Um, and then you get those things and you realize like it's a nice pat on the back, but it's not
Yeah.
really like, you know, I went to the Grammys, I had a great moment. I didn't get the Grammy, but I also realized I won anyway. Like I sat down in the audience. Like you did it. Good
Right, right,
job. You
right.
know, like so yeah, the things that I wanted back then, to me, I laugh at now. But any musician and artist, anyone with a dream has those goals. But I think it's kind of just that sense of when you're in the middle of it, that's all you care about. I mean, I cared about that more than my mental health, my physical health. That's why
Yeah.
I was so skinny. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't eating right. I was smoking cigarettes all the time. I was just focused on the wrong things. Now that I'm older, I'm focusing on things. And I'm gonna be honest, like there's a balance is important, you know what I mean? Like I was supposed to work out today. I didn't. You know why? Because I knew I would rather sleep in to be well rested and be able to give you the best interview possible because that's important to me. So instead of like beating myself over the head, like, oh, you didn't work out today, da da da, I'm gonna get it next week. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
these are things that I've learned. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off too much on a
No,
tangent.
no. No, 100%, man. Now, Logic, we were talking about in the neighborhood that retirement.
Yeah.
When we hear the album, you know, there's no pressure, and when we hear the words retirement, what does that mean coming from Logic?
It means I'm stepping away and I'm not looking back, you know? So I could sit here and say, oh man, like I could try to play it. Like I've trolled my fans before and been like, oh yeah, I might retire, and but I'm trying to sell something. This is me. It's kind of like, yo,
Wow.
take it or leave it. In 5 years from now, where I hope I am, and fans are still like, damn, he really not that. Like, you know, it's kind of it's like it's up to y'all, and it's not a game. I'm not trying to sell albums. Like this is really how I feel. I sat down, I had a conversation with my management team. I had a conversation with my wife. Like this is what I want to do. Now, I'm not trying to give anybody hope by saying, you know, look at Jay, look at certain people who've come back. I don't know where I'm going to be in 5 years. Like 5 years ago, I didn't know I'd be here. So I can't speak on that, but that's also not me trying to be like, you never know. And I
Right,
am
right, right.
like the last thing I'm thinking about right now is music, unless it's a therapeutic form to release my feelings on a beat, because I've been doing
And
that since
you
I was
didn't
a kid.
say I'm walking away from the game as far as, you know what I'm saying? Like there's people that sports figures that retire and they coach, you know what I'm saying? They become
Yeah, for
analysts.
sure.
You know, they still in the game. So when you say retirement, you're not also speaking of like, man, I'll never produce anyone else. I'll
Yeah,
never get
no.
back, you know, yeah. So,
No, yeah,
but also
I'm
it's not
excited to make beats. Sorry to cut you off. I'm excited to produce for people. I am excited to make beats and do those things. I am excited to, you know, maybe pull a Andre 3K every once in a while and give one of my favorite rappers a fire verse. But when it comes to albums and numbers and sample clearances and estates and
mm,
people with ties saying what can be and can, and it's all about money and image and fame, and you ain't hot enough and you a meme, and I'm like, nah, I'm no thanks. I'm out of that. Yeah.
man, yeah, that sounds like freedom as well, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my thing is, bro, like you could stay in it, and if you're not, and I'm not saying, oh, you're not happy. It's just that we become different people sometimes. Sometimes we arrive, and sometimes, man, you'll get this quick like the light fixture where you just turn the light on, the switch on, and then you're there. And then with some of us, it's more of a dimmer. You know what I'm saying? With the dimmer, you're kind of like, oh, okay, yep, all right, yeah. And
Yep.
then the room all of a sudden lit up and you're like, oh, okay, now I understand. And the great thing about it, bro, is that you're in a position, and I don't mean on the money side, whatever, where you can do that. A lot of people don't retire or walk away because we get so caught up in this machine, bro. For whatever it is, we get caught up in this machine. So I marvel people that can move to Montana. I marvel people that can throw their phone away. You know what I'm saying? I really look at that. And because the one thing about it, bro, if you were to completely so-called lose your mind in this, the support that you wouldn't get would be astronomical. People, they applaud the failures. People, so when you walk away and say, man, I want to have my sanity, I want to have my wife, I want to have my child, I want to, go ahead and retire. And I was thinking, I was like, well, maybe Logic is retiring Logic, but he's not retiring like something Bobby, or you know what I'm saying? So
like P. Diddy, like Diddy, Puff.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Just come back like, no, oh, he did a name change. He did a name change.
One thing that does kind of excite me, like, way down the road is possibly like, the Gorillas, they're like a dope music group.
Hell yeah.
Like something like that could be really cool where I'm not even like singing or rapping, but I'm just like making beats and like producing things out to kind of get that fix for there to be a lead singer or whatever. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I still love music. I do love music, but when it comes to just like, man, I feel really happy. And I was nervous too, man, about this whole, like, how is it going to be received? And I've been off the internet. So it's like, I have homies calling me like, oh, okay, it's going well. You know what I mean? Like, this is your most well-received album publicly that you've ever released, And I'm just like, wow, that's pretty amazing. I think I made the right decision. Because then also, like, the amount of pressure to come back from that, years later after, like, kind of stapling yourself. I mean, I say this, it hasn't even been a week since the album's been out, but I can feel the difference. You know what I mean? I can really feel it. And I feel like I am being celebrated right now. And I can smell these flowers. And that's something that I've never had. But I think not to sound no type of way, I think the reason I feel this celebratory feeling is because I'm also celebrating myself. Like, I am telling myself I love myself, and hey, bro, you did a good job, man. You did a good job. You did a good thing. Now just go be happy. And I think people are realizing that. I think in a way here, the game, or hip hop, rap, albums, all this is kind of like losing one of their own without like passing away in a way. You know what I mean? Because so it's kind of like a moment where people are like, damn, he's not here anymore, but he's still here. So it's like it's sad that we're not necessarily going to get any more albums or anything from him, but I can see people are genuinely happy, and it's a bit bittersweet because he is happy and he's living his life. So, kind of good on him. That's the vibe I've been feeling, and I like it.
Man, when you see so much when it comes to everything that you've kind of done and up until this point, has the music business disappointed you? Because at one
100%.
point
Sorry, continue. Continue.
No, that's it. Because at one point, man, you get in, and it's like you fall in love with something, and it's like, man, I would do this for free, but if they gonna pay me, I'll take the check. Yeah. But it becomes like, man, my music, I can do the music. It's everything that come with the music business. And people will say to you, oh, that's what you signed up for. Like, really? That's what I signed up for?
No, it isn't. You didn't know that. Like, even the same thing with like fame or whatever, like, oh yeah, people just like trying to pick up his baby at that's just what he signed up for. People trying to hold his baby or come over and while he's eating food. Yeah, that's what he signed up for. It's like, what are you talking? I signed up to make good music for great fans and have a good time. I didn't know shit was paparazzi was gonna be knocking down my door while I'm just trying to walk down the street with my wife, or talk shit about the divorce I had to go through, like try to paint me a certain way or that woman a certain way, and then you don't even know. It ain't even that deep.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Like that is crazy. One, but the actual business of it, dog. Like, I have had, oh my God, I don't want to go into it too much. You know what I'm saying? But let me just say, the old regime at Def Jam was on some fuck shit. Besides some good people there, but I mean, the amount of times I've been told no. Yo, I got this crazy idea. It's going to be amazing for this music video and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, you know, our legal department can't really sign off because and I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. It's why this album, first and foremost, is the most samples I've ever had on an album before, period. And I fought for tooth and nail for every single one. And I ain't making that much money on this album, dog. Let me just tell you that. And I did it on purpose because I was like, the reason my mixtapes, and while I'm even making this mixtape, I know people are going to be mad because I keep talking about it, but this mixtape that I'm making right now for fun, which I'll send you and the homies and shit, like on some, not industry, on some personal level, excuse me. The reason why it's so great is because I can sample The Simpsons on skits. I can sample the Beatles and Michael Jackson for beats. I can do anything and everything that I want to. It is a playground. But what this business does is they go, no, you can't do that, or it can't be this way, or they'll never clear that, and it's just about money. And hey, I really want to do this thing. Like, bro, I won't get into it. But I actually wanted to do a listening party, not a release party. I wanted to do a listening party on Twitch because I just signed a deal on Twitch where people play video games.
Congratulations, bro. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. And that's actually, remind me if I forget, because it's actually the best way to connect with fans ever, and I can explain why. So I wanted to do this listening party where I basically, a couple days before, played the album for my fans. And mind you, dog, coronavirus, like all these are things that I would do. I mean, back in 2015, 5 years ago, in the rearview mirror, I got a tour bus and went across the entire country and knocked on fans' doors and ate with their families and played them my album early, and hung out and had conversations from California to New York City. I did this. And I wanted to do something special for this album. I wanted to do the same thing again, but then with Corona and safety and my baby and needing to be there, I couldn't do it. So I was like, man, I'm going to do this. Now, I won't get into who or what or where because I respect it and I understand it. But basically these music services, right? There's multiple services, felt a certain way. They were like, you're giving the exclusive to Twitch and you're and I'm like, what exclusive? You know what I mean? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I just want to play this for my fans. You know what I mean? And mind you, I'm not talking about any specific service in general. It's just as a whole, because they have this no compete clause back when it used to be, you know, this company would have an exclusive from, you know, say Drake or something. And then this company would be like, okay, we're going to get the Taylor Swift exclusive. And then it was like a war, and they kind of stopped doing that, which I respect, because they're like, all right, let's stop, you know, essentially just messing up let's just keep things cool, and we'll both
damn it, like a truce.
Yeah, but with this, it was like, yo, this ain't even like a competition. I'm trying to do something for my fans. I wanted to walk them through. I wanted them to feel special because they are. So that's just one minute version of like being told no creatively or things that you can't do. But at the same time, I also respect these people. These people are my partners. So I had to do something I didn't necessarily want to do. That's been my whole career. My whole career has been, I didn't really want to do this, and I didn't really want to do that, and I wish I could have done this, and I wish I could have done that. And by letting all that shit go, it's over now. I do what I want.
It's almost like the tug of war too. Like, all right, I'll let them win this one. I'll pull this one in. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And you do get kind of caught up in the machine, man. Have you ever wanted to, like, musically, as far as when you do think about the business, you ever thought about, like, man, I'm just going to throw in the towel? Not where you are coming to a retirement, but just out of a frustration.
Yeah, 100%, dog. Frustration. And even deeper than that, dog, like the internet, man, social media. Like when you go online every day, and because the thing is like before 1-800 had popped off on the Everybody album, I was just a known rapper, you know what I mean? But I went from that to like pop, you know what I mean? It's just and then when you do that, I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it, Selena. Now I get it, Justin. Okay, I get it, Taylor. Like, I get it, dog. Like, y'all get it. Like, y'all be getting ripped apart. These people don't even know you. They just be shitting on you. They see a picture, unflattering picture, and suddenly you're too fat or too skinny or too this or too that. And I'm over here like, I'm just trying to rap, dog. Like those things, man. And being on stage, I'll never forget, I was on stage, Pittsburgh. It was Pittsburgh. Shout out to Wiz. And it was like the height of 1-800, and everywhere I'm going, it's just suicide, talking about, you know, killing yourself and preventing killing yourself and death and death and death. And this shit is incepting my mind, making me want to fucking kill myself, dog. I'm like, this is crazy. And that's why those people who work there now at 988 are real heroes, man, because they can take that burden like a therapist times 1,000 of people in real time. And I was on stage and I was tired and I was exhausted. And I'm gonna be real, like, I don't like doing radio. This to me is not radio. And I'm not just saying that because we're on, like, this is like the homie. This is where it started. This is where it began. There's a few people I really like rock with. And you're at the top of the list. And I was doing a million radio interviews. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating right. It was just so crazy. And I remember breaking down and I was like to tears. And before I had to like stop rapping, walk off stage to puke my brains out because I was so unhealthy, to go back and, you know, wipe my face off and feeling like every bar, every step on the stage, I was going to pass out, dog. And I was moved to tears and I was like, I'm tired. I'm not happy. And then, you know, on the internet, Logic has mental breakdown and all this shit. And I'm like, nah, I didn't have a mental breakdown. I had an emotional breakthrough, baby. Like, I understood what was important to me. And that is a part of this industry and this business that can be very, very difficult to deal with. And it's something I overcame, and I'm happy, and I came out the other side. And we can't say that for a lot of artists, and it's very sad. But I think that's why Dark Place is such an important record. I'm not running from the internet. My God, I was at its birth. I've been a vet. I'm going berserk like Peter down at Initech. It's deeper than the surface. I'm searching for purpose. I'm tired of searching for logic and Google on purpose just to read that I'm worthless. Like, those are real bars that I was actually scared to say. These are things I was scared to talk about because it's, oh, rich rapper, you know, has mental problems, and it's a scary thing. But I overcame that. I'm on the other side, and that was some of the hardest stuff that I ever had to deal with. Yeah.
Pandemic is going on, man. How are you holding up through all this craziness?
Man, I'm being as safe as I can. You know, numbers out here in Montana aren't really that crazy, but that don't matter. I'm still going out with masks and gloves. You can only be, you still like got to live your life. Obviously, I think about my son first and foremost. So everything I do, it's with him in mind. But it's like, yeah, you know, like, I got people that go to the store for me, you know, that I'm blessed enough to be able to employ and pay and things like that. But man, it's not even like we do much. We don't. I mean, we go on hikes and shoot guns and ride dirt bikes and stuff like that. But, you know, there's going to come a time as things ease a bit. Like sometimes I'll go get food, you know, because it's like, you got to get the hell out of the house and, you know, a little bit. And then it's just, but it's a whole thing. It's like I'm damn near in a hazmat suit, you know, and I'm getting the thing and I'm wiping all the bags and every little thing with alcohol wipes and all this stuff. So it's crazy. But at the same time, I say this jokingly, it's my kind of virus because I don't fuck with nobody anyway. I don't like people, and I just be in the house all day. No, I'm just
has it come anywhere close to you, like a family member, a friend, or?
Yeah, there's like just a few people. A buddy of mine, his girlfriend's father had it and was in the hospital, and he's a bit older, but then he's making a recovery. But nobody's super close to me that I know of. We've just done our best, honestly, to be as smart as we can, and not even for ourselves, right, but for our elders and for our babies. And that's what's most important to me. It is hard psychologically as well, like being confined to essentially one space. And I mean, how many drives can you go on, you know? But out here it's different for me because there's just a whole open land. And growing up in Maryland, I've always been like an outdoors guy, like walking through the woods and all this. So I'm actually finding peace with this earth, literally like having a connection with this earth instead of a connection with the club or, you know, Soho House or some shit. Like it's great.
And when we see it now, man, we had a chance to kind of speak on the pandemic from where it comes from, you know, like the house and staying around and washing your groceries. What about the pandemic that keep Logic where we're doing interviews on Zoom and there is no listening party where people are touching you and there is no fan that you could just put together in a certain place, even if it was 500 people? Like, what does that do for Logic, the artist, when you're dealing with the pandemic?
It's definitely hard. I took this year off anyway. And what I mean by I took the year off is like I knew that I wasn't going to tour or travel. So I just happened to serendipitously make the right move before I even, we all knew what was going to happen. But man, it sucks, man. I love to embrace my fans and give them hugs and let them know I love them and shake their hands and look them in the face and sign autographs. And
that's what I was going to say. For a person that don't like people, you love people. You know what I'm saying?
I'm an introverted extrovert. It's weird. It's time and place, man. It's time and place. Like, for example, let's just be real. The conversations me and you have in private aren't the same conversations that we have right here. Like, and it's not even, well, we actually do get very deep right here, but that's not what I mean. Right now, we on camera, we on the radio. We're also entertaining people at the same time, So there's a certain energy in our voice. There's a certain this and certain that. And I get that. That's time, the cameras are on. It's time to be that people person. That doesn't mean that isn't one of the sides of ourselves. That just means that when I'm off camera, I'm just a little more laid back. I'm a little more chill, and I like time to myself. I understand that when I go outside, I'm always wearing a Superman suit. You know what I mean? So if I go to the store, everyone sees Superman. I just see Clark Kent. I see myself as just somebody who's blended in, but the rest of the world doesn't necessarily see that. So I am very, very to myself. But I'm also not ignorant to the fact that if somebody comes up and asks me for a picture, or I'm not going to be like, get the hell out of here. Sometimes I say no if I'm not in the mood. Sometimes I'll, shake their hand. Well, pre-COVID, shake their hand and say, hey, it's really nice to meet you. I'm just not taking a picture right now. I'm with my child. I'm with my wife, and I'm shopping for cereal. But it's very nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
I heard that.
And some people could be like, oh, this guy is so like I'm entitled to something.
Bought your album.
Yeah, and it's like, thank you. I appreciate that, but it's not like I ignored you. It's not like I was like, hey, get out my face, like blah blah blah. But you're right. There is a level. I definitely feel like I'm a people person, but
you know what always tripped me out too, Logic, before we break out here, when people say, I bought such and such's album. And I'm like, okay, and I've been saying this for years. I said, okay, you bought their album and the album had the music on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you bought the album and in exchange, you got the music. That's just like me saying, oh, you know what, man? I was at a store today and the lady or the guy was so nice. And then, he's at a public place. So he was so nice. I followed him home. And then I knocked on it like, what do you mean, bro? Like we had, that's why when people say it comes with the job. Because
that's how you
that's
get
what he
shot,
signed up for.
Dog. That's how you get shot. Like,
but it's crazy when people say that's what you signed up for. Nah. So that's with anything. If you're the plumber and you come by my house and I love the way that you fix something at my house. Yeah, you just had to catch myself. Y'all didn't want to say, and I love the way you did the pop. No, I can't say that either. But then I say, okay, well, you know what? He was I'm going to follow him over here. I'm going to take a picture. It's like, it's almost crazy what we expect from you guys as human beings that we wouldn't allow ourselves. I was just watching something where it was like 10 greatest Kanye moments, where he came out the house and it was 4 a.m. and they were taking pictures. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, dude, what are you doing at my house at 4 a.m. taking pictures? That's not what you signed up for. And I know people probably may say, oh, y'all sitting there and y'all talking as peers and y'all not real. Like, man, we've been through more to sit here than the average person has been through. I've lived a lot of life, and a lot of life that people don't. So I don't want people to paint this privilege sign on someone. But
I feel like I'm 35 times my age, dog. 100%.
Yes, man.
It is like my lowest point my deepest, darkest, depressed state that I've ever been in was my most famous, my most wealthy, my most known, my most this. People don't understand that. Would I do it all over again? Yes, because I made it here and I'm happy and I'm still fighting and learning every single day. But man, we're just humans. And I also think that I do a pretty damn good job of portraying that in my music. And I think that that is why people relate to me. And that's why I'm blessed enough to have the fans that I do at the end of the day. So it's about spreading peace, love, and positivity, spreading a good message, dealing with the you know, the dumb people on the way as best
Yeah.
as we can.
Hey man, we'll end it right there, bro. You know what I'm saying? I thank you for your time, bro. And time is very precious. And I thank you for giving us your time. That's the one thing that we really can't get back. You know what I'm saying? So we got to spend that currency wisely. And thank you for spending it with us. Man, you have yourself a great day, man. Continue to be everything that you can be for your son and your queen. Enjoy life. And I'm telling you, man, you put the work in, enjoy it.
Thank you.
Enjoy it. You know what I'm
Thank you
saying?
so much. I appreciate you.
Don't let people grab the popcorn and see you destruct, because that's what people enjoy. You know what I'm saying? No pressure. Logic in the neighborhood, man. Thank you, God willing, man. We be able to see each other one day. You know what I'm saying? And,
For sure.
you know,
100%.
handshakes and hugs, but take care of yourself. We got Logic right there in the neighborhood, Big Boy's neighborhood.
Big boy.